Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 316 of Prog Review. And today I'm talking about. What am I talking about? You're going to have to imagine it's there because I couldn't afford to buy this one for real. Well, I bought it, I got it off of eMusic. Yes, I'm talking about Silent Dance by Solstice. That's it. Like I said, the CD reissue of this is out of print and exchanges hands for lots of money. So I went on to eMusic and bought the download there. And not only do you get the original album, you also get a second slew of songs. That's why it's called Silent Dance to Definitive Issue. But I'm not audition even. I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about the main album. That's okay. Solstice. Neo-progressive rock, because we're on a neo-prog odyssey. Yes, we are. We're honest. And Solstice they're more left field. These guys are more left field. Yeah, you do get the odd little bit of widdly widdly. Well, who doesn't like a bit of widdly widdly now and then? But yeah, it has those elements to it, but it has a healthy dollop of kind of folk music. Think of Curved Air. I'm going to draw comparisons with Curved Air because they do use a violin a lot on it. Mark Elton, he's on the violin, and the vocalist is Sandy Lee. Her vocal's very ethereal, very John Anderson like in places because of the pitch, just the pitchy. But again, not as upsetting as some of the other neo-prog that's out there. Again, this one was released back in '84, and then the band went into some sort of hiatus, and then they came back again on that second wave, if you know what I mean. But this album, yeah, I mean, I almost enjoyed it. I did, because it wasn't slave to all that. Let's see us all sound like Marillion nonsense, that the other bands are stuck with. And it wasn't rock pretending to be prog either. They were trying to do something a little bit different. Like I say, it's got the it's got the sound, that expansive sound of prog. And it's got, like I said, the vocals are very ethereal. You also got the violin and like I said, this folk sensibility, which made it, I kind of found it quite enjoyable. Yeah, some bits I didn't like because it went into almost easy listening mode. Find Yourself, the last track, was a bit like that, and so was Cheyenne. But I enjoyed Return of Spring. I really enjoyed that track. It's instrumental, I believe. I think there's some chanting on it. But yeah, it's a bit hey nonny nonny, but from what I've heard, out of all these albums I've been listening to, this is worth checking out, right? I'm giving this one my backing. I back this one because they are trying to be different. They do have their own style and angle, and you can hear where they've come from. And again, neo-prog. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, because they don't do all that time. I don't do the time signature change stuff. Then I wouldn't say that their songs are particularly complex, but they use the sound palette of prog, but with definitely with a healthy dose of folk. So that's what makes them interesting. So yeah, I mean that as a debut, yeah, it's a very interesting debut album. I'm actually trying to track down the vinyl of it because I want to. But if you do go over to eMusic, you do get a second disc of material. Alas, because I don't have the actual physical thing, I don't know what these songs are, and I guess that they're I guess it's material that was recorded at the same time, and you get little fragments of song, which is nice, and again, it's okay stuff. It's not, it's not gonna scare the horses. He says, repeating himself. So yeah, I mean, Solstice. That's not a bad one. I'd like to say I do give that one a hearty recommendation. Some of it, isn't necessarily to my liking. Again, if you don't like, that kind of folky kind of, if you don't like Curved Air, you're probably not going to get much out of this. But if you do have like a folky leaning, go for Solstice. Go and check them out. But again, I think more progressive folk. How about that? Progressive folk. That's what we'll call them. So yeah, in terms of a rating, I'm going to give them a healthy 3.5 Earth songs out of 5. 3.5 Earth songs out of 5, because again they did stand away from the IQ. I always mention IQ. They do stand away from the IQs and the Marillions of the time. They do have their own, identity, and I think there's material in there that you'll get some enjoyment out of. But again, you're not necessarily, if you're looking for an out and out neo prog, let's copy the past, you might be a little bit disappointed. Right. I do actually play a track of this in the latest World of Prog podcast. Oh yeah, because I remember that I mentioned that podcast, and I bought a license. That hurt. Don't worry, you can pay me back later. But I'm trying to get the podcast onto iTunes, and it seems to be taking absolute forever and a day. But if you are a Patreon, if you're a patron of Patreon, to my Patreon account, which is www.patreon.com/lock. If you donate there, what I'm doing is I'm giving you access to the World of Prog podcast early. Yeah, so you can go there and you can hear it up front early. That's like a bonus feature, because I realise you can do things like that, so only patrons can hear. So if you are a patron and you haven't realised it, go over to your account or wherever, check me out, and you can see that you can hear the podcast, because it's in there. You can listen. It's in there somewhere. And if you aren't giving me any money, this is an incentive for you to hand over, because it's an hour and 15 minutes, and it's a neo prog special. So all the music I'm talking about in these neo progs is in that podcast. So go over there, hand out your money, and listen to the podcast. And then I will be releasing the podcast into the wild whenever iTunes pulls its finger out or whatever. I don't know what's going on, but I might even start doing that with the old prog review. Release them early to the patrons, and then yeah. Well, I think that could be a good thing. What do you reckon? So anyway, hustle. But yeah, so yeah, do check out Solstice. Do check out the podcast too, because I do enjoy doing it. Again, for the patrons, if you don't pay, then well, you're gonna have to wait, aren't you? So where was I? So yeah, we're still. I don't even know if we're halfway through this. I think we must be coming to the end of this neo prog odyssey. We must be. But yeah, do check out Solstice and Silent Dance. I haven't checked out their later albums, but the first one it's nourishing in a way. Again, for 1984, a very brave album to release, because it's unlike a lot of other things. So yeah, that's it. My name's been Darren Locke. I've been talking about, well, you have to imagine it, Silent Dance, Solstice. Oh, that's the oven. The oven's telling me that my cinnamon swirl buns are now ready to come out of the oven. Oh yes. I'm a regular baker man. Do check it out. And after the beeping's putting me off. Beeping, I smell cinnamon. Oh, still I can have cinnamon with my coffee. That's the idea. But what was it? Oh, Prog on.